Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Today, we have Tuesday Takes, and our host, R. Evans, is running a little bit late today. So, we're going to start off with settings. This is the topic of discussion for our show today. And when Luke arrives, we will get more in depth with it. So, for right now, let's talk about settings. What is a setting when it comes to writing? So, let me do a quick Google search for the definition. Um, the place or type of surroundings where something is positioned or where an event takes place. Now, I know that in the stories that I'm currently writing, I have a few whips in progress. Um, like, let's go with Blood Schism. My setting is initially New York, and then it takes off to Ireland and Scotland. So I'm creating a world that basically you can associate with. So the idea behind creating a setting when you're writing a book is to create something that the people can associate with. Now, if you're a world builder and you're someone that's creating a whole new planet or a whole new country or something like that, take like Game of Thrones. I mean, you have all these different cities and areas that you create. You have to give a feel for what it is, weather, climate, the lay of the land. Um, that's going to be more of a landscape setting. Then you have eras where you can get into um, a time set. So, say like the 1970s or the 1920s, or if you want to go medieval, or a setting where, a time when like there's fairy folk or vampires or whatever. You might go back into an older setting in relation to time and era. So there's many aspects of settings, and I really, really wish Luke would hurry up and get here. Um, anyways, the other aspect of settings and all that can be also your immediate surroundings. Are you in a hotel? Are you in a house? Are you in a small town? There's again these different aspects of creating a world so that a person can feel that and know about it. And yes, here is Luke to save me.
Hi. Sorry.
Oh,
I
that's all right. I just gave a basic description. I gave the definition, the Merriam-Webster definition of setting, and I kind of described basically how you can start with like a location for setting. I described climate, weather, land, and then of course immediate as far as are you in a house, are you in a condo, are you in a building or whatever. So I'll let you take over from there as my ship is sinking.
No, you're good. You're Gucci. Actually, geographical location is only a small part of setting. There's also mood, psychological, time, environment, cultural, psychological. I think I already said psychological, climate, weather. There's all sorts of different ways to describe a setting. Um, and there's two different types of settings as well. There's like backdrop and there's integral. So backdrop settings is like the setting doesn't really matter, which is the kind of writing I write because I do more with character driven plots. So the setting's not really all that important, but I still have some integral setting when it comes to like Julian's backstory because okay, we'll get into that later. But backdrop setting is more like generic. It's like it doesn't really matter where they are, it doesn't really matter when they are. It's it's more about what's happening and the characters themselves. Like you could drop these characters in any setting and it wouldn't change the story at all because it's not the setting that matters. And that's called backdrop setting. But then the integral setting is the ones where if you change the setting, then it would completely destroy the story. Like it wouldn't be the same story anymore. Like think about your favorite TV character right now. Who's one of your favorite TV characters?
Well, let's go with since I just watched Wednesday. Let's go with Wednesday.
Okay. All right. What's the setting for Wednesday?
Well, if you want to go backdrop setting, we don't know really the area, but she's at a school.
Okay. So that's the place. That's
right.
the school. And it's like
Right.
modern times.
Right. And you got the secondary town. I think it's called Jericho or something like that. So you got like a secondary town. So as far as the town goes, you're looking at something that really doesn't matter. There's woods, there's killings that are happening in the woods. But then if you go with the person, now you have the darkness, you have the sarcasm, you have the character itself.
Well, the point I'm trying to say is with the location and the time period. If you took Wednesday and put her in any other location or time period, would the story still work? Like if you put her in the Witcher's setting, like it's a fantasy world and like it's a completely different universe from ours. How does that change the story then if we put Wednesday in that setting? Does it change it?
No. Only if you want her to encounter maybe like dragons or something that she might not encounter in the current story. I mean, outside of that, but again, though, the geographical location has nothing to do with it. It would be the time and era that you're putting her into.
Yeah. So it doesn't really change the story all that much. So that means that whatever Wednesday Addams is, whatever setting that is, it is a backdrop setting, as you said. But some settings are integral to the story. So if we're looking at something like, gosh, let me think of something. What's some of my favorite shows? Ooh, I'm watching Breaking Bad right now for the first time. So if we put Walter in 18th century London, or if we put Walter in, hang on, let's do something even better. What's something where like the story just would not fucking work? What if I can't think of anything? What is something different? Because he could still sell drugs. Something that changes who he is. If we put him in a utopian society where healthcare was free and all housing was taken care of and socialization, and it was like a very socialist society, communist society type thing where everything was all taken care of, Walter wouldn't have that drive anymore. His motivation would be gone to sell drugs. So it would completely ruin the story. So that's how setting can become integral to a story instead of just being a backdrop. So what I really like about setting is that it can develop a character. It can be more important than a lot of the other things that we use to develop characters, like a plot events, that kind of thing. Oh, hang on. Let me look at my little note here. I'm sorry. Like I literally wrote all these notes before today because I just moved. I just moved house. Like I just had a moment to breathe. So let me see here. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Setting can be just as important to your character's development as their reaction to plot events and their interactions with other characters. So like it's the setting can be just as much of a character as the characters themselves. I don't really write settings that are like the settings aren't really that important in my stories. The only time that it was important was Julian's backstory, because if there wasn't a stigma around being gay, then a lot of his character development in RimWorld wouldn't have happened. So the 18th century London thing was really important for Julian's backstory in that case. But oh gosh, look what I just did. Anyway, though, it's
Right.
fine. I can fix it.
That's kind of like with my TJ and all that, where the backdrop setting actually plays an important aspect, because I give the year 1968 in a farmhouse and this information, and the importance that it plays is it tells you more about what was going on. If you know anything about history of what was going on in that time and era, and how people were treating each other, and how religion played a part in things and stuff like that. So even though it's not a big description, I'm not going into immense detail about the setting, it still plays a role in where your mindset goes.
Yeah, your setting is very important to the story. It is integral, because if you took your character out of Breathe and put them in a society where it was normal like this,
Right.
then gone is the entire story. Like, it would become a completely different story. So your
Right.
setting's integral in Breathe.
Right. And Breathe. But so is it in TJ?
And in TJ. Well, I don't know. Would you say it's integral in TJ? Because
Well, yeah, because the aspect of the era that he's growing up in is what creates who he is. You put him in any other time and era, it may not have the same effect.
Okay, I can see that in a bit. Another really cool thing about setting is how it can either complement or contrast the plot. For example, if your story is like about inner beauty, and maybe you'll have it take place, like the geographical location can be like a cosmetics shop. So you have a story about inner beauty, but it's taking place in a cosmetics shop, which I think is really interesting. Or you can have one that like complements, where it's like it's about saving the environment, but it's taking place in like recycling plant. So that's a way to the two different ways. Like, I like the one where it takes place in a recycling plant and it's about saving the environment, because the setting is giving us, it's like feeding you the plot as you go. So I feel like that's really good for pantsers, because you already have all the opportunity to talk about saving the environment and shit like that in the story. But the chaos demon in me likes the contrasting one about inner beauty and it taking place in the cosmetic shop, because it's it's an oxymoron, like it's so hypocritical. And I think it's interesting to have like an argument taking place in the story between the setting and the plot. What are some stories that you can think of that you've written or read that you really like, that might be examples of contrasting setting or complementing setting?
Well, Dublin, Ohio is a very complimenting setting. That's where you're talking about the occult and stuff like that, and out in the middle of cornfields and Midwest mentality. I think it complements it very well. Now, could you have taken that setting and gone to, like, say, California? Oh, definitely, it would have worked. It might have changed the culty activity a little bit, but you could have still ran the story the same there. But then take it up to like maybe Boston, Massachusetts. It may not have worked as well there. Or down in sunny Florida. So I think the whole idea of Dublin, Ohio was perfect for the setting.
I'm trying to think of something myself. Complimenting versus contrast. I see Ari's in the comments. We've been ignoring you. I'm sorry. Ari says, I feel like inner beauty should take place somewhere ugly.
Well, a
Inner
cosmetic
beauty.
shop would be perfect.
Well, I didn't think about it from that angle before. Somewhere ugly.
Well, I want you to think about this. What I've recognized in this world, there's a lot of people that have outer beauty, but no inner beauty. And because they have no inner beauty, they become very ugly. No matter how good looking they are, they are just an ugly person. So
I think that I have an example of what Ari's talking about, though. Um, have you ever watched the show Jawbreaker, the movie Jawbreaker with Fern? Fern is in she's like part of I think she runs a junkyard or something like that. Her parents do, and like she's not like the best kept. Like she doesn't have like perfect hair or anything. She looks kind of tomboyish and homely, and then she gets like a total makeover and turns into a bitch later. But but you know, she's a very sweet girl, but she's not very pretty. And I think that might be a good example of inner beauty, a story about inner beauty taking place somewhere ugly, except that when she becomes beautiful on the outside, she becomes ugly on the inside, which is really interesting. A cosmetic shop is too easy. An ugly place will let inner beauty shine. Yeah, yeah. I think that the what I was trying to say about the cosmetic shop and the story about inner beauty was like, if let like in my head I'm imagining like a couple of people working there, and all day long they're talking about makeup and how to make people beautiful and cover up flaws and that kind of thing. And as the story progresses, they start realizing that, you know, like you can only cover up what's on the outside so much, you know, like now you need to start working on yourself on the inside. And that's where it really comes from. Do we really care about like, you know, a spot of acne or that scar, or, you know, like an errant hair that's growing somewhere that shouldn't grow there or whatever, you know? Like maybe towards the end of the story, they start to realize that, you know, other things are more important by the end of it. I don't know. That's just kind of like the vibe that I was going for with that. But I like
I kind of see that storyline in a lot of these school setting type stories and all that. Whether it's like Legacies, which is part of the Vampire Diaries entourage and all that, or even like Wednesday. Again, these these things that take place in a school, and you have people that have this outer beauty, but they have no inner beauty. So I think that happens a lot in a lot of these school shows.
a lot in the school shows. Yep. I'm sorry, I can't. Like, this is my new hairstyle from now on. I quit. It's punk rock. No, I absolutely agree. Yeah, with a lot of the young adult shows, there's that's like a cliche kind of theme that I've noticed a lot. It's all about inner beauty, but I think that it's worth hammering it into the kids' heads because, damn, you know, like there's too many kids who have body images issues and shit like that nowadays, and they need to start realizing that what really matters and what's going to last is who you are on the inside. So I like that that's happening a lot with YA. I had something else I wanted to mention if I could find it. Oh, yes. I wanted to mention that the contrasting setting can also be used for to accomplish comedy. So like, you know, you you can have a contrasting mood setting with an environmental war zone setting. So like if you have like some kind of like a war zone happening in the background or whatever, and then like these two people throughout the book or whatever have slowly gotten closer, and then on the battlefield as everyone's getting blown up around them and there's explosions going off, you have a really touching love scene. I think that's a great way of accomplishing comedy while you are writing like a romance scene in the middle of a war zone. Like, I love chaos, I can't help it. So you can mismatch settings to accomplish fun and interesting things.
You made me think of two shows where things shouldn't be funny, and yet that's the whole premise of the show. Reno 911, absolutely hilarious. It's about cops, and everything is just a major,
the mood setting doesn't match the environment setting.
Right. And Scrubs. Have you ever seen the show Scrubs?
No, I've seen clips though.
Yeah. I didn't find there's people that find it absolutely hilarious. I thought Scrubs was stupid, but the premise that we're talking about is you got people dying and people that are sick in this environment, and you got people dancing, telling jokes, and just the crudest of humor, So I guess that would be a contrast setting.
I like a lot of contrast in my writing and in my reading. That's why I like the odd pairings, the bubbly giant teddy bear character with the smaller grumpy serious character. That's my fucking favorite. Like, please do more. Anytime there's a contrast like that, it's great because like but we're talking about setting, but it's also a great way of getting different points of view and bouncing off of it. It's like an argument within the text, not between characters, but between the setting and the plot and the characters and warring settings as well. So you get like a couple of different perspectives that just bounce off of each other, and you get a whole bunch of different points of view. So I really like contrast. Complimenting settings are so easy is the problem with me. Like, I like to make shit difficult for myself. I like things that make me think, that are complicated. So complimenting settings, it's just kind of like, it's a romance book and it's taking place in a fancy, dimly lit diner or whatever. And there's roses and fluffy, silky sheets and shit, like, like that's too easy. But there's a time for that too.
Yep. I guess I haven't read Wallpaper to Anybody yet, which is a young couple that move into this house, and they're, it's kind of you think it's a love story to begin with, and then of course they start peeling off the wallpaper to redo it, and it's human flesh with names engraved on it, and it kind of changes the whole dynamic. So I guess it's like a love story setting that becomes a murder mystery thriller.
Okay, that's psychological setting, environmental setting with psychological setting. So the environment is romantic, but then psychologically, the setting is horror based.
Yes,
that's contrasting. That's interesting. I like that. Use of the five senses. I always mention this. I cannot stress it enough, but that's a great way of immersing your readers into the setting. It's not just for immersing them into an emotion, as I harp on about all the time in these writing videos. But immersing them in the setting is just as important. And I struggle with setting a lot because, like I said, I'm very character driven, but color, lighting, temperature, texture, scent, sounds, all of that good stuff, making sure to describe those is going to really help ground the reader in the moment in your story and make the setting feel more real to them.
Yeah,
What else?
we had someone come into a space once that talked about this. I forget her name. But she talked about how a lot of the stories, they never have enough taste and smell in them. And make note of Blood Schism. I cover taste and smell a lot, you know. So of all the senses, I'm really highlighting taste and smell. So yes.
Yeah, I'm one of the biggest offenders when it comes to taste and smell. I'm all about touch and hearing and
Seeing,
seeing
yes.
lots of sight, so much sight. And I think a lot of writers rely heavily on sight as
Yes.
the major sense, because when we write, we see it like a movie that's playing out in our heads. So we're just writing what we see, and we're not putting ourselves in the moment and pushing her. Like, we write it like a movie, and then when we edit it, that's when we make it real. I feel like a lot of the times, for a lot of writers, at least I do. That's what my editing process is all about, is making sure that I have gone back in and added it, taste and smell and touch and all that good stuff.
Yes, yes. Now I'm really hitting with the taste and all that. It's like when the reader is reading and Iris is talking about pecans and brandy and chocolate and these things. It's just like I want people drooling, like I can taste it, while you're reading it. I want you to taste these things.
Very nice. Yeah, I need to really focus and work harder on that myself in my writing. And I realize that's where we struggle. And it's fine. All writers have weak spots. So all you really need to do is identify what those are. You don't necessarily have to change the way you write your rough draft, but just be aware of those, make a note of it for when you go back for your edits.
Yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot more to talk about where it comes from setting, and we are only half an hour into this thing. So if somebody has questions in the comments that they'd like to ask, that would be super helpful. Again, so sorry that I'm not super prepared for this segment of Tuesday Takes. I was moving, and I just literally moved in this weekend, and it's only been like a few days since I moved in. I still haven't got all my boxes unpacked or anything. And I've just been go, go, go. So I'm sorry, I'm unprepared. I'm doing my best. Somebody help me with questions. Questions about setting. What do you guys struggle with? What's some settings that you really enjoyed and why?
Well, I like to describe, I guess, I like to put emotion into my settings.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to feel the emotion that's going on. So I guess for me, the biggest part is, if somebody's angry, you feel the anger. If somebody is sad, you feel the sadness. I want people to feel the emotion. Like in TJ, when he's getting beat, and he goes into a whole nother world. I want people to know that pain, and with each time that the strop comes down, you feel that land, and you feel the blood raising your back. And then when he goes into another world, you kind of get lightheaded with it. Like, okay, he's leaving this and he's gone into his other world. He's not feeling the pain. He's not feeling the strikes, and it just kind of hypnotizing almost, I like to mesmerize people with the feelings that are involved, like when he's gliding down the staircase, and he no longer realizes, that where his hand wasn't working, he didn't recognize that it just simply was working again, that I don't know how to describe it other than maybe mesmerizing.
That's more description for character emotions. I suppose that fits with mood setting, but that did give me a really good idea about setting as far as like environment, weather, climate, that kind of thing, and how that can either complement or contrast what's happening in the story as well, like the plot. So like thunderstorms, whenever like somebody is like, maybe there's a battle, or thunderstorms whenever there's somebody who's sad, or a thunderstorm when somebody's happy. I don't know. Like you could contrast it a little bit there, but that's the compliment, like anger thunderstorm, happy romantic thunderstorm. That's contrasting. and snow for when like it's cold and it's depressing and everything, and then like your character's cold and depressed and there's death and there's a funeral and all that. I actually did an example of that, complementing the weather with the plot events that were happening in Lucid. Yes, I did. Not to talk about my book forever, but yeah, I did that with Julian. Every time that it's cold and wintry, something bad fucking happens, because hello, something bad always happens in my life when it's cold. So
Well, and again, in TJ and all that, I make it hot, I make it sultry, I make it blistering. The dust in the air, you can feel, walking out, you're dirty, you can feel it stick to you, So, yeah, again, it sets the atmosphere for what you're going into. Yeah.
yeah, and see, when I think of hot and sticky and it's fucking humid and gross and I feel dirty and the dirt's sticking to me and shit because I'm so sweaty and gross, that just reminds me of being irritated, just tense and on edge, just uncomfortable. And that definitely describes TJ's life. So
Yes.
right. There's also cultural setting and physical or social setting as well. So it's not just about like the physical setting. It's not just the weather or the environment, like mountains, shit like that. It can also be social, like like the type of people that is around. It can be cultural, like the kind of society that you live in, the like whether it's swanky or whether it's more like a small village or something like that. That can be setting. The people,
Bible Belt.
huh?
Bible Belt.
Right. The people itself can be the setting.
Yes.
So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Again, I pull that into TJ and all that. I put him in the Bible Belt and the whole holy roller atmosphere, because again, that plays a part in why he becomes what he becomes.
That's interesting. I guess I might have I have an example of cultural setting in Extasia. It's in Lucid. It's a realm, the Fenral realm. People aren't allowed to actually fight in the Fenral realm. It's against the rules. Like there's designated places where you can, train or whatever and pretend fight, but you can't actually fight in the Fenral realm. Like it's off limits. Like all the Fenrals want to do is party and play and sleep, and that's all they want to do. They don't want any fucking fighting, no part of it. So there's no fighting allowed. And if you do fight, then you're held to account. You have to go to the Clouder Court and all this good shit. You get like banned from the realm forever and you can't return. And there's all sorts of shit that goes on there. But that's kind of the setting of the Fenral realm of Extasia, the party city and shit, is play, have fun, and that's it. There's no fighting allowed, no conflict allowed. Everybody just gets along, or else you don't stay here. So that's
kind of like in Breathe. You're not allowed to read or be educated. So if you get caught with a book, you get demasked and you die.
Yeah. So that's more of a cultural, societal setting that's there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if that's removed, then the story loses its integrity. In your case, not in mine. In mine, it's not so bad, I guess. That's just a very small part of the story, so it doesn't really matter all that much.
Right. I mean, I could set my location anywhere in the world with the same type of basic imprisonment. I could even create my own world. It doesn't even have to be one in the United States or on Earth or anything like that. I can move this anywhere with the same storyline of enslavement. The books, again, they don't have to be books that, again, were written here. They could. You got to think if there's other worlds, they're probably going to have books or some sorts of reading material of some sort. So that aspect of it, I could change the setting and put it anywhere. But as far as the climate of what's going on, all of that has to remain, because otherwise it would change. The cultural aspect, the well, the dystopian aspect of it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I don't have a whole lot else to really talk about. Gosh, I am so woefully underprepared.
no problem, no problem. It's been busy with the holidays coming up.
Oh, no joke. Yeah, I've already said everything that was on my note sheet, like all of it. It's a big long ass.
No worries,
I'm
no worries.
done.
So, are you all ready for Christmas?
Oh no, I haven't even started shopping. Are you kidding me? I'm the gift this year. It's me. You're welcome.
Oh, well, it is my birthday, so Christmas Day. I got to share it with two mythological creatures.
Go you. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I have an interview with Cornelia. So,
Oh, nice.
yes. I still got to get.
For the Krampus story?
I think she's got a release, a book release or something. I can't remember, but I have to get with her and get that set up because I have it on my calendar, December 21st, interview with Cornelia. So I think it's about her book release. I can't remember.
It's probably the Krampus story. I know that she was working on editing it and getting it revised and everything and ready to and polishing it up before releasing it. I bet you it's the Krampus story she's been working on.
Could be. I'll have to get with her and all that, so and find out. But yes, it has been busy. I've been downloading so many videos, and we've been having internet problems out here. They're changing up all of our lines to fiber optic. So at night, our internet goes down all through the night and then comes back on in the morning. Then we have excellent internet during the day, and then at night it goes down again. So that's why at night I haven't been in spaces. So
I haven't even had time to be in writing spaces lately. I've just been, I just barely got myself moved in.
yeah, moving sucks. Gaston asks, what are your IRL settings in Ohio, Luke?
What's my in real life settings in Ohio? Like, are you talking about Nodi Aster? Or are you talking about Ohio? Because I am so confused. In Ohio, we have hills and valleys and corn. That is the settings there as far as geographical. For climate, we have 4 seasons in theory. Weather, it's cold as fuck. It's so cold. No snow yet, but apparently there's supposed to be a blizzard happening this weekend. Not looking forward to that.
Yeah, you guys got some cold stuff coming your way, don't you?
Yeah. And mood setting, it would be depression. Let's see. Ari says, I'm going to write a poem for Dana's and I showcase space tomorrow evening. And after that, I'm going to put all of my energy into working on my novella, Heart Drive. Ooh, that sounds nice. Heart Drive. That's like a play on hard drive. I like that. I mean your real life story settings. My real life story settings? You mean my life? My life right now? I don't want to talk about it. Stress. But I'm doing my best. Motivated. We'll use motivated.
Yes.
So
you're still in Ohio though, right?
Yeah, still in Ohio, unfortunately. Oh, I'm not gonna say that. It's fine. Home is where you make it.
Yes.
It'll be fine.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I am excited to start working on insomnia again though. Once things start settling. It's fine. I'm trying to quit smoking. This makes me cough worse though. It's fine though. Yeah. Insomnia though. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm doing a really cool thing, contrasting setting with it. now that we're talking about setting, I am bringing RimWorld into the real world. So like magic and shit suddenly going to start existing in the real world because the gates have been all fucked up because of book one. So I get to play with contrasting setting there. Like,
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be
Nice.
fun.
Nice. Yes. No, I haven't got much writing done. I wrote a couple poems today. Finally getting back into my poem writing after I lost all my poems on the Apple Lyric. Yeah. I got to save the one that I wrote about my wife. Diana still had it. So
That's nice. That's good that she had that for you still.
yes, yes. But yeah, I had almost 100 poems on there that are gone. But that's okay. I can write more. I can write more.
Yes.
And I got the most important one, the one about my wife. So, but outside of that, I've been really, I took these last few days off and just kind of vegged, especially with like everything that's going on with the internet, kind of taking it easy. I can't wait to get back into Blood Schism, the Rainbow Prophecy. Actually, I've already decided I'm actually gonna call it the Rainbow Prophecy, and book one is going to be Blood Schism. So I'm going to use both names. So the saga is going to be called the Rainbow Prophecy, and book one is going to be Blood Schism. So I'm going to get this first book done here. I've almost got everything downloaded, and I'm going to start doing the clips here probably next week. So again, the algorithm here on YouTube is they like these 1 to 3 minute clips. So I'm going to be breaking. Huh?
I said the algorithm is unforgiving.
Yes. So I'm going to start breaking all of our shows down into 1 to 3 minute clips. And I'm going to, once I get probably about 30 or 40 clips, I'll start releasing them, like 3 to 5 of them a day, and continue to make them and release. And then once I can get up current, basically where we're at today with the shows, then I'll get back into finishing up Rainbow Prophecy and book one and get that done, because I need to get that submitted by mid-March. And so I've got basically 2.5 months to get this book done and get it submitted, and then go from there. Hopefully I can get this deal.
I believe in you. I do. I don't even know when I'm going to be able to finally sit down and breathe enough to work on my shit. I'm hoping by the end of the month I'll be done. I'll be ready to sit down. I'll have a nice solid base put together for myself to where I could focus on writing a little bit, because I'm still working on, well, we'll keep that hush hush for now until I have something concrete. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what?
Yes. No, this has been kind of, I guess, probably the reason why I'm getting slowed down here a little bit, and I'm trying to keep my motivation up and all that. This is my first holidays without my wife. She passed, and my birthday's on Christmas. Her birthday would have been January 7th, and she passed away on January 22nd.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's like going through this is kind of difficult right now. So, and trying to keep my focus on everything is even harder, because it's like, again, everything I do, I start thinking about, and it's just like, okay, come on, motivation, get up, start doing things. So it's rough. It's rough. I think once February gets here, I think things are going to get a little bit easier, and I can really start propelling myself forward.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Is like March is going to be like my finally I can fucking breathe and focus on what I need to focus on, and things will get back to normal. It's going to take me a few months to really have everything formed the way I want it to. I need to build up my real estate pipeline, and I got like a a bunch of other shit. Again, you know what all I'm doing. There's a bunch of stuff getting ready to happen. So I feel you on that. You're not going to be like safe and secure until like February. I'm about to be the same, but we're going to get through it. Don't you worry.
Oh, definitely. You know, I mean,
One day at a time.
exactly, one day at a time, one foot in front of the other, and
Yep.
you just keep on moving and going.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yep.
sorry, Bob.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this Saturday and it's official this Saturday. I'll be starting up a new segment called Comedy. We might work on the name a little bit, but the first segment is going to be Ode to George Carlin. So I'm going to be bringing comedy on here. I'm waiting to catch up with a friend of mine to see whether or not he's going to be able to do the Stoic segment. If not, I got a couple other people lined up. So hopefully next week or the week after, I'll be starting my Stoic space. And then I got to get a hold of Ariel to see if we're going to start up the UBI space. So again, I'm gonna be come January. I'm going to be moving up to about 6 shows for the week. You know, so I'm already busy and trying to keep up, but again, I'm going to pile some more shit on there and drown myself in it. But you know, I really want to grow this. I want In the Moment to become something that, you know, gives a little something for everybody, you know, whether you're a writer, whether you're into the metaphysical, whether you're into the spiritual, whether you're into the stoicism, philosophy, politics, writing. Exactly. You know, I want to bring a little bit of everything so that people have a choice. They can pick and choose, maybe get interested in some things they never thought they were interested in, like writing. You know, I mean, everybody is a writer. Okay. Everybody is a writer. Everybody tells stories all the time in their head, you know, at least those with an inner dialogue.
Right.
Everybody is creating a world that either they want to live in or they think they should live in. And putting it on paper is a whole nother story. And I hope that these writing shows will inspire people that didn't think that they were a writer, realize that they are a writer and can put something on paper, because everybody's got a story or two to tell.
That's true. 110%. I have a question for whoever's left in the audience. What would you like me to cover next week? I can come up with something on my own for sure. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I could cover, but what is it you guys would like to see covered next week? That way I could write it down and have my notes all together for next week's show, which will be more organized than this week's. Again, so sorry. I was moving. I did my best.
Oh,
with
don't
what I
worry
had.
about it. Don't worry about it.
But what would you guys like me to cover next week? You want character development, character arcs, world development. What else can I do? Prepositional phrases, like the do's and don'ts, cliches, tropes. That's just what I can name off the top of my head. There's a bunch of different things. What would you guys like me to cover? Like, what would be helpful to you guys?
Picking apart genres. I mean, there's thousands of genres. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start on that. My goodness.
I want to do something that's like a little bit more writing tips, I think, for next show. I'm not seeing anything in the comments right now, so I'll probably just come up with something myself. And just do the research on that. I'll try to get that research done this weekend. That way I already have the whole show fucking planned. And if I write more notes than the show allows, then we'll just carry it over to the next show. But the next show is going to be fucking lit. It's going to be very structured and organized. I'm going to have enough information to talk about for the next show, one way or fucking another, because I'm sorry this one sucked.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't even concern yourself with that. I mean, if I think
Thanks,
of something
Ari.
before then, I will message you. Okay, thank you, Ari. We all have things that happen in life, and it is what it is. The fact that we're coming on here, we're having some conversation.
Mhm.
That's good enough. If people want to comment, praise, laugh, whatever the case is, hey, I'm happy we could provide some comedic humor or whatever the case is. Life happens. The fact that you moved, finished up, and got here and put on a show. Hey,
Did
hats
my
off.
best.
Hats off.
I was literally, I got here, I got in the door at 7, like on the dot, like right as the show started. I was like, oh my God, let me find my camera. Let me find the laptop. Where am I going to set up? I have no idea how to set up because like, it's not the same setup as last time. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have the bookshelf behind me or nothing right now, which will be taken care of next week. Like I'll have a nice pretty setting for the background, but not this week. This week you get this mirror and the doors and a piece of a whiteboard. That's what you get. And there's my coffee pot.
Gotta have the coffee pot.
Nothing is more riderly than a coffee pot.
Exactly.
Ari says, I'm definitely going to need help. I love you. Well, I'm happy to help any way that I can. I am by no means an expert, but hopefully something I say will be helpful in the future.
You're definitely inspirational, that's for sure. I will say that. There's been a lot of times, I tell you, we'll go into the spaces and we'll read part of what we write. And, there's a lot of people that go, yeah. And then there's Luke. Well, let me see here. Okay, I wrote this down, and at this part, and I love it because you actually take an interest and you're actually there to help. And not that I always agree with what you have, okay? Not that I always agree with what you have.
Right.
You have pointed out a lot of things that have helped me tremendously.
I'm happy to help. I
Yeah.
give what I hope to receive. That's how I like to do reviews and how I like to do critique is to be as detailed as possible and pick out certain things because I love it when other people do that shit for me. So that's the way that I fucking critique. I might not know. Like, it makes me sound like I think that I know everything when I do it. I'm always afraid that that's what I'm coming off as. And I always have to like put a little disclaimer like, I know, like, like you can take it or leave it. This is just my thoughts.
No, it's great information. And here's the thing: anybody that thinks they know everything there is to know about writing, I can guarantee you they are not a good writer. Okay, because they're not open to criticism, they're not open to critique, they're not open to anybody saying anything about what it is they write because they think they have it all. Okay.
If you think your writing's perfect just the way it is, then that means that you are completely closed off to growth. And if you're not growing, you're not going to be successful.
Exactly. And I know quite a lot about writing. I actually know a lot more than I actually thought I did. All those writing classes that I took, and now that I look back, and it's just like, oh yeah, I learned about that. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have a lot of information. Now, applying it is a whole nother story, and being able to look at myself and go, okay, there's something about this that's just not right. And, to share it and have people say, hey, Paul, you did this, this, and this. And it's just like, oh, yes, thank you. I am so open to the critique. And I wish more people would critique me more, because I can take it or leave it, and if I think they're wrong, I can sit there and take another look at it and go, okay, let me try to put myself in their shoes. What is it that they're trying to say to me here? And maybe DM them or have a conversation with them. What is it that you are seeing that I'm missing? Because I don't see it this way. And if I still can't figure it out, then, hey, I either change it up to the way they say, or I leave it the way it is and move on, but I always want more and more critique. I want more and more information, because all
Same.
it's going to do is make me better, and then I can share that information and help make other people better.
People always like think that I'm so weird when I'm like excited to get like some kind of critical feedback in like a space or something like that. They're like, you're a masochist, or not. Is it? Yeah, masochist or whatever. Like, what is your problem? Like, what? Like, I really, really want the critical feedback, because that's how I can make it better. That's how I can like, and it also shows great interest in my work if you've listened to it enough to where you formed a strong opinion about it. So like, the stronger the critical feedback, the better, in my opinion, because that just means like, wow, okay, like you really fucking paid attention, and you were emotionally invested to the point that you feel the need to make it better by offering these little points. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, I get it.
I do know that you are a good writer, because you did send me a piece of your work once that I got to read and critique, and I had to look real hard and actually start Googling stuff to find things wrong with it.
I love it.
So, but again, to be able to give you any kind of feedback, felt good for me, just to be able to give you feedback, because at the time I saw you as a goddess, and now I realize that, well, we're all gods and goddesses, because we're creating all these worlds, and hey, we're not perfect gods. We're newbie gods, and we're all learning, and we want to be that perfect god somewhere down the road. And
we're deities of our own domains.
Bingo. All right, Luke, I'll let you get back to unpacking. And I got to take my dog on the walk here. I didn't get to take her beforehand. Yeah, I had a lot of things to do and all that. I did get her out for 3 walks earlier in the day and all that, but Joe's home now, so I can take her out on this last walk and fend off the coyotes. But anyways, love you. Next week we'll have a more inspiring show for those that came on.
Yes.
You have a good day. And remember, everyone, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way.
Meow.
Meow.